The southern half of Colombia is farmland and jungle, the stronghold of the revolutionary group FARC. We didn't go there. The northern half is dominated by three mountain ridges. The big cities here, Bogotá and Medellin, are at high altitude and enjoy spring-like temperatures in every season. Coffee is grown in the Zona Cafetera on the slopes of these mountains. They peter out to the north into swampy flatlands, through which the Río Magdalena flows into the Caribbean Sea near Cartagena. We flew from London to Bogotá. Our hostel is in La Candelaria, the Bohemian backpacker district in the historic center. Graffiti flourishes here, and piles of rubbish. The rubbish is there because the collectors are on strike. Graffiti because it's no longer illegal. After the police shot a young street artist dead, there was a huge outcry, so now the city organizes competitions and tourists pay for guided tours of the artwork. Our guide, Jairo, took us on a tour of the cafes and snack bars of La Candelaria to sample traditional food and drink. Chocolate santafereño. You drop cheese into the hot chocolate and dunk the bread.
Empezando a tener una mayor conexión con su tradición y con su herencia, sobre todo indígena.
Jairo explains, an Indian face used to be a social handicap. Now it's chic.
Una herencia indígena o negra era mal visto. La gente trataba de esconder eso.
Jugos naturales are delicious juice drinks made from a wide variety of exotic fruits. A speciality of Gloria's fruit stall is ay carachas, which includes passion fruit, banana, milk, and a whole crushed quail's egg. Chicha is a fermented corn drink.
Es la chicha. La chicha es una bebida de maíz fermentado. Okay?
You drink it from a totuma, a half gourd, a gentrification of the original Indian practice, where it was served in the skulls of enemies after excavating the brain.
Y esto es duro por fuera como un coco. Esto es duro por fuera como un coco, pero tú lo abres y por dentro parece una calabaza. ¿Sí? Retiras eso y te queda esto. Esto es un vaso tradicional, ¿no? Normalmente la chicha se sirve en una totuma. Lo que pasa es que cuando uno no está acostumbrado a tomar chicha, una totuma es demasiado. ¿No?
Justamente aproveche y véngase para acá, ya que está haciendo un muy buen clima en Bogotá y sobre todo que nos van a contar de qué se trata este primer festival.
This funky street is called the Calle Del Embudo because it's a funnel which narrows as it goes up. Ajiaco, a thick soup brimming with chicken bits, potatoes, onion, garlic, and a grassy herb called guasca, a kind of daisy. It's served with small bowls of avocado, capers, and sour cream for you to plop in, and maybe an ear of maize, a hearty meal. They call it chorizo, but it's an American hot dog wrapped in arepas, the ubiquitous cornmeal bread. He's protesting that he was evicted from his home by a multinational company. The slow train journey to Zipaquirá and its famous Catedral de Sal, a cathedral built in a salt mine, is a popular family excursion.
At the time, for foreign people, for us,
mine is still in operation, but 14 chapels have been built into solid salt along the kilometers of underground passages. We took the advice of a taxi driver who dropped us at a roadside stop on the direct route to Villa de Leyva rather than the bus station, which would require a transfer. What the taxista did not tell us was that the buses were far less frequent. 3 hours later, arriving at night, we couldn't find our hotel, so we went to the police station. They didn't know either, but sent a patrolman out with us to look. It was around the corner.
¿Qué rana era?
No.
Al otro lado de la cocina. Bueno,
Exacto.
eso.
Ya está más o menos. Todavía le falta un poco, pero...
Bit of your soup.
Ay, diarrea.
Diarrea.
Chuck has a go. And Judith. This is the home of an independence hero, Antonio Nariño, and this was long thought to be a portrait of his wife until they cleaned it and discovered that the man pictured in the locket is another general. So, if it was his wife... the home of another independence hero, and this is Simone Bolivar, who led the revolution. The home of Luis Alberto Acuña, a prolific 20th century avant-garde sculptor and artist. A self-portrait by Luis Alberto Acuña. A day's journey by bus and taxi takes us to Barichara, a colonial town preserved on a hilltop. Our small boutique hotel. The painting is a reproduction of a work by Colombia's most famous artist, Fernando Botero. Much more about him later. And Judith has a go. The Camino Real is a pre-Hispanic trail that leads 9 kilometers to the village of Guane, all downhill. We'll take a bus back up. I think that's where we came from, just to the right of that radio area on the top. Along the way are stations of the cross. Another all-day journey by bus to Barrancabermeja on the Río Magdalena. We called ahead to book places on the local boat downriver the next day. The region is not easily accessible by road, so the boat is an essential lifeline for the riverside villages. The boat goes lickety-split, but the journey to El Banco is over 100 kilometers, and it takes 6 hours.
Ciento y pico por la noche, imagínate tú. Ahí, de parte de la noche, y nosotros.
Barrancabermeja, Puerto Wilches, San Pablo. Somewhere on the Río Magdalena. It's all dried corn husks para vender más allá.
The next day, a local revolutionary group called an armed strike, which cancelled the boat service. Having declined the offer of a 50-kilometer journey to Mompós, clutching our luggage on the back of a motorbike, we took a taxi.
La
Due to its remote location, Mompós, founded in 1530, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site of perfectly preserved colonial architecture. Our guide, Jose, tells us it was once the third largest city and a major trading port, but the river changed its course in the early 20th century and Mompós declined into drowsy desuetude.
Arcos andaluces que Mompós ha heredado la arquitectura.
The former home of a wealthy Spanish merchant. The arches are in the style of Andalusia. In 1847, there was an outbreak of cholera. The population was decimated and the river was contaminated, so they dug wells and filtered the water through stones.
Covaban la tierra y luego de la misma tierra se filtraba el agua y luego traían piedra de filtro donde sacaban el agua de los pozos y se echaba en la piedra de filtro de nuevo para filtrar de nuevo el agua. Era el agua que ellos podían tomar y no tenía problema de cólera, porque el cólera acabó con más de 3.000 personas, niños, ancianos, personas, el cólera los mató a todos. En 1864, por un español vengativo, nació en quitó la vida. Indios, Santa Bárbara, cólera. Murieron todos de la epidemia de cólera, los mató. Y una arquitectura de cementerio italiana, Bolívar también le dio.
San Francisco, built in 1580, is the oldest of the 6 churches. Not sure who this is, but Jose points out some heavy symbolism. Somebody has covered his eyes and ears with cement.
Y le tapó los ojos con cemento para dejarlo ciego. Contrafuertes que vimos afuera, esos los españoles. A las 3 allá arriba. Hay un restaurante muy bueno que se llama Ambrosía. Sí, ahorita te lo voy a mostrar para que.
En la plaza San Francisco, ¿no?
Sí, San Francisco.
¿No?
Muy grandes. Ese se llama el pez de bigotes.
They call this fish pez de bigotes because it has a mustache.
Este se llama mojarra. Mojarra
Sí.
boca chico. Boca chico.
Boca chico.
Es el pescado que
comimos
se vende
ayer.
Barraquete.
Barraquete is a bird like a duck.
Como un pato.
Sí.
Se llama nicudo. Es parecido al bagre porque tiene unos bigotes. ¿Sí lo ven?
Pero mucho más pequeño.
Más pequeño y más delicioso.
Las garras, tiene garras bastante enormes, ¿no?
Sí, y crecen grandes. Limones y naranjas. Y aquella se llama auyama. Llama ñame.
¿Cómo se deletrea?
Ñame.
¿Cómo se deletrea?
Ñame.
Llame.
Es una.
Llame.
Sí, es una.
Con Y.
Tamarindo porque había un árbol que hacía parte de la historia de Mompós donde está Bolívar. Y el árbol fue molchado. Este español de tanto
Another of the fine merchant houses.
consiguió una gran fortuna. Una gran fortuna.
¿Está cómodo?
Una tela muy original.
New buildings like this one in the Plaza de Concepcion are designed in the colonial style.
Una arquitectura moderna estilo colonial.
I've got pages and pages of notes to write up. Corozo. Muy bien, perfecto.
¿Está bueno?
Charón.
¿Qué hemos pedido? Esto es lulo.
Lulo con leche y corozo.
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 Sí, por aquí, por la calle principal. A ver, todas las carrozas, las reinas.
And Judith's turn. Simone Bolivar, the liberator, made 8 visits to Mompós. In 1810, it was the first city in Colombia to declare independence. 2 years later, Bolivar recruited an army of 400 men here who fought a decisive battle at Caracas.
La torre de la iglesia. Bolívar, acostado en la hamaca, dijo: Mompós, Mompós no existe. Mompós es un sueño.
We followed the sound of music and discovered the annual Mardi Gras parade.
cerveza de Colombia, llamado Dorado. Bien.
The next day, the parade took on a political significance. Many of these candidates bear the same names as disgraced, corrupt politicians who have been barred from public office. They are their sons and daughters, nieces, nephews, and cousins.